We're in Michigan. We're with Mike, the MI Tesla guy. Maybe you've heard of him. It's tough to say, but at any rate, I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. So Mike, the MI Tesla guy himself, the question everyone wants to know, are you?
Am I Tesla guy?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, so there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in.
Good talk.
Good talk, good talk. This is a short form one today.
Yes.
So we've got...
I do have to explain real quick, because what I realize is a lot of people don't know what that stands for. MI is the abbreviation for Michigan.
Of course
and I live in Michigan. But I had somebody from Mexico actually say, that's my Tesla guy, because me Tesla guy.
Tesla amigo.
Yeah, so there you go. Works.
Soy mi Tesla amigo.
See.
Oh, that's wonderful. You need a correspondent down there to complete the package.
That's right.
So you recently drove over a pothole. Now we've all done it. We've all done it. Can you first describe the pothole before you describe the aftermath?
I'm going to need a moment.
We have arrived at the Fair Oaks Supercharger.
A little scary of a drive.
Yeah, driving through one of the little towns, hit a pothole right on the other side of a set of railroad tracks, which is interesting because it was the railroad tracks I was slowing down for. Did not even see it until I was right on it, and it was a doozy. It was for real. Well, let's put it that way. Enough that it scared me, which kind of takes a lot.
And me.
What I did notice pretty immediately is the car was pulling to the right, so clearly there was something wrong, thinking alignment and everything. So we did pull over. I got out and took a look. I mean, the wheel, I don't see any cracks on the wheels. I don't see any separation. I don't see anything like that. And it's held tire pressure, but definitely alignment issue.
Tons of alerts flashing.
Well, not immediately. So we kept going, and I put it on autopilot just to see what would happen, and it did put up a warning because it was having to fight against the pulling as well, and it said alignment, service needed.
Well,
it was actually right after a set of railroad tracks.
okay.
And I would actually describe it more as the cement on the other side had heaved. So not as much a pothole, but I got to their side and it was up, so you're hitting something that's coming up instead of dipping down. And it was massive.
It was massive.
Yeah.
Would you call this typical Michigan winter settling and...
I would, except this was in Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So I did not expect it down there, which is honestly, if I was in Michigan, I probably would have been more careful.
Sure.
But I didn't see it until I hit it.
Now this did a little bit of damage.
A little bit.
Tell us about the damage.
Bent the rear subframe, bent the driver front wheel, had to replace a rear knuckle on this, which I believe is a suspension thing. I'm a little embarrassed to say I'm a car guy and don't know off the top of my head. And yeah, I think the total came out to just under $5,000. I will say I got to give credit where it's due. The Grand Rapids Service Center, they had a little trouble getting it back into alignment, even after replacing stuff. And what they did is they just kept replacing stuff on the front driver's side, one piece at a time, to see if it would fix it. If it did not fix it, they would take the new part off, put the old part on, and not charge me for the part.
Wow.
Which is nice, because I think most body shops, I'm not a body shop guy, no offense to any who are, but I think they kind of, just replace it.
They replace it all. I had an electrical problem in a van once, and I said, I don't know if it's the alternator or if it's the inverter or what it is. And he goes, no, we just replace it all. We're not going to, if you want to go with someone who'll go one piece at a time, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So the pothole situation wound up a little bit expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing Mike likes to do is share with you his road trip experience. And it's a little different than it would be on the West Coast, or maybe even on the East Coast, because this is the Midwest. This is Big Three country. This is Ford, GM, and I guess some people still call it Stellantis country.
Yep.
What are some challenges to adoption of EVs in the heartland of the V8?
That's a great question. Honestly, I would say it's probably mostly mindset, and that is coming around a lot. I live in West Michigan, so I live in Grand Rapids. Still Michigan, so you got the big three, which of course when I was growing up, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, but now Stellantis. Not quite as big of an impediment as they would have on the east side, where you have those suppliers, and it built the economy in Michigan, but certainly on the east side. And we're seeing it change. I would formerly say superchargers, the charging, but Tesla's got it pretty well built out in the Midwest. Here in Michigan, I can say specifically northern Michigan, northern lower, so we have two peninsulas, which you can use your hands to show people what they look like, but northern lower could use some more, and the upper peninsula really needs some. I think they have one just on the other side of the Mackinac Bridge. But other than that, we're actually really encouraged, talking with coworkers, and even my wife saying, when we first bought our Model 3, we have a Model Y now as well, 3 years ago, I might see a Tesla every few days. Now I see 3 to 5 a day driving back and forth to work, and I only have a 10-minute commute. Wow. So that's saying a lot.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you think there's a tradition barrier to EV adoption in Michigan?
I think you will probably, ultimately I would say yes, I think you find that really anywhere. I think you will find it a little more here in Michigan, because we like power.
Yeah.
I mean, we like, as you said, the V8 and working on them, so many tier 1, 2, 3 suppliers and things like that. At the same time, what I think will help, I know we're at a Tesla event, but I think what will really help is other manufacturers taking it seriously. I personally think Ford, they're of the traditional OEMs, I think they're doing it, and I think that's going to really help for EVs overall in Michigan.
I would agree that the more and more serious offerings, the Lightning is being well adopted around the country. The Mach-E has plenty of fans, and anytime they actually build something, people buy them.
Right.
There are very few EVs that you can say nobody buys.
Yep.
Maybe the old Mitsubishi that one was not well adopted, but it's still a thing. Now, you've reviewed quite a few accessories. Mm-hmm. Do you have any favorites?
I am going to sound really boring. I like a really good set of floor mats. That's the most non-technological accessory I've got.
Well, let's ask that then.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a good floor mat and a bad floor mat?
Fit is number one to me.
Mm-hmm.
Fit and the ability. Our winters in Michigan, you probably get this out in Washington. Maybe you got to get further from the coast. I don't know. They're quite interesting. There's a lot of snow, and we use a lot of salt. Not as much sand, and it just gets nasty. So keeping all that into something that I can just pull out and rinse off is really nice.
Yeah. What about technical accessories? Maybe a little refrigerator or something?
I haven't done the refrigerator yet, although I've watched a lot of videos on it.
I've seen
looks
that
pretty
one.
cool.
The little cubby one looks pretty neat.
I just saw one that actually takes up the entire sub trunk in the back. I will say my favorite so far, I do have a Hancho 9-inch screen that I installed on our Model Y. And the main reason I did that is because of CarPlay. I know that brings up all sorts of comments from all sorts of people. Just me, I really like CarPlay because I like using Waze for my navigation and reporting stuff and seeing live reporting. My wife actually really likes that she has the screen in front of her and can see the speed and everything there. She doesn't mind looking to the right, but she likes it being in front. The only negative I've had on that so far is it does block a good deal of airflow, which in Michigan, interestingly enough, matters more in the summer, which sounds counterintuitive. We're not known for our heat, but if you know in a Tesla, right, it's a greenhouse basically. And it takes me a whole lot longer to cool down. In the winter, I usually don't have heat blowing on my face anyway. So it doesn't bother me as much in the winter.
So now, I know that you have a day job, you have a profession, you're a highly technical, I won't say what the profession is unless you want to say it, but I'm assuming you don't like to tell people what you do because they say, I need you to give me advice, and you have to tell them, I'm not going to do that. Is that true?
That is part of it. Interestingly enough, a bigger part of it is I find that the tone of the conversation changes.
Oh, I see.
And I I like cars and I like Teslas, and I want that to be the conversation, not something else. So yeah.
So does that mean I can't say what it is?
Oh, you can say, I don't mind.
Oh, well, he's an attorney, but my sister's an attorney, and she says she won't tell people because they go, oh, I have this very obscure thing that's from a very specialized field that you do not deal with.
Yeah.
Can you give me free advice? So with that said, I hate to do it to you, but can you look at this rash I've got?
Oh, I think there's some doctors here, so yeah, probably.
It's the same occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
would you check out this mole for me?
Yep.
Okay, again, I'm still an attorney. I don't have any expertise, but I will say you should definitely get that looked at.
Yeah.
Check out in my Tesla guy. What did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Check us out on Patreon. I've got one. I don't know about this guy. If he does, you'd be a real executive over there. So, and yeah, definitely subscribe to both of us because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop, I suppose.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think it's more mindset.
Start with honestly.
Editing's a beautiful thing.
So yeah, and subscribe both ways around.
Yep.
Kelly.
Sorry.